Let's understand about the history of Jammu and Kashmir. Why we should understand the history of Jammu and Kashmir first of all? See, first of all, you should understand why Article 370 has come. Because that's creating the all sort of problems, right? So you should understand why in the first place why 370 has come. Then you should understand about Article 35A and about its background, and you should understand how the Jammu and Kashmir as a princely state different from others. Why Jammu and Kashmir alone have all these special features. Everything has the solution in history. Let's track the event back and let's understand about the history of Jammu and Kashmir. Let's start with July 25, 1947. It was Lord Mountbatten who gave freedom to all princely states by 25 July 1947 itself. Yeah, it is a month before the India and Pakistan would have got its independence. Yes, it's right. Then these princely states were given three options. One, to join Indian Dominion. Yeah, they got freedom. Now they were given three options: either join Indian Dominion or join Pakistan Dominion, or to stay independent, that is to be free, to enjoy the freedom by its own. It's also, but Lord Mountbatten also gives some advice to princely state. What is the advice? First, yes, you can remain independent. Yes, you can be a ruler of your own country. That is, as a princely state can become a country and you can rule your own place. But considering the military requirements and considering the economic well-being of the people as well as the country, it may not be a wise decision to stay independent. So join either of the dominion as per your will. That is the advice given by the Lord Mountbatten. And keeping this advice in mind, almost all princely states took the option and joining either India or Pakistan. Let's take for example, there were around 560 princely states. Out of that, only 3 remained independent or were not ready to join either of the dominion. Other than that, all princely states has taken a choice to join either of the dominion. And this great job of integrating them as a India, as a patchwork of India, was done by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, and that's why he got a statue as well. And that's a different story. Let's not enter into that. Now coming to the states which chose to be independent. One is Hyderabad, and the second one is Junagadh, and the third one is Jammu and Kashmir. Yes, these 3 princely states had their own viewpoints. Let's talk about Hyderabad. It was ruled by Nizam, that is, Urdu-speaking Muslim elite were ruling over a predominant Hindu people, the two who were speaking Telugu, Marathi, and Kannada. Yes, at that time the Hyderabad comprises Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, and also some parts of Karnataka and some parts of Maharashtra. So they were all these Telugu, Marathi, and Kannada speaking people who were ruled by Urdu speaking Muslim elite. So obviously there was a problem, there was a mismatch, right? This Nizam, okay, who was ruling Hyderabad is wishing to join Pakistan. Yes, but geographically it is not possible because Hyderabad is somewhere in the core of South India, and that's not possible to be Pakistan because it is within India, right? So obviously that's not happening. But Nizam is strong in his point. But there was a movement, there were people were revolving against the Nizam. You would have studied about Telangana movement, where around 30 lakh people rose in revolt against the Nizam stormkeepers, that is the Nizam's guards, and it has marked as one of the most important movement of modern Indian history. And you can also find the articles regarding Telangana movement in your spectrum. If you are a new candidate, you would have this sounds something new for you. Spectrum, yes, the book named Spectrum for Modern Indian History is a must-read book, and I have also provided link in the description. If you are a new person who is yet to start with modern history, just buy that book and revise it. It is a very small book with all the relevant contents in a very precise manner. Let's come back to the session. So it was a Telangana movement and everything was going on, and with the might of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, finally there was some action taken and Hyderabad became the integral part of India against the will of the Nizam. Then Nizam also agreed to it. Okay, it was Junagadh. And in Junagadh there was a plebiscite. Again in Junagadh also the ruler was a Muslim and the people were Hindu, and almost everybody wished to join India. So there was a plebiscite held and people showed their will. What is their will? And the will of the people prevailed and they got the success in the form of integrating with India. Done. And coming at the last to Jammu and Kashmir. Yes, it was Jammu and Kashmir ruled by Maharaja Hari Singh, who is a Hindu ruler, and the majority of the people were Muslims. And what is the problem in this case is Maharaja Hari Singh took up a decision or took up a firm determination that he is not going to join either of the dominion. And he clearly said this Jammu and Kashmir is our hereditary uptakings or hereditary givings, and we are not ready to devolve this power to either of the dominion, and I will stay independent. This was the stand taken by Maharaja Hari Singh in 1947. Okay, so I just went through July 25, 1947, and it was okay. So before whatever the story I said is in between July 25, 1947 and October 1947. So this was the thing happening in between, and but something happened in October 1947. What it is? Let's go to it. So okay, I can also split Jammu. Okay, I explained about the Jammu and Kashmir, and I also explained about the stand of Maharaja. Now let me explain two things. See, if you take Jammu and Kashmir, there were external matter and there were internal matter. Since Maharaja Hari Singh is a monarch, there were some group of people who was revolting against the monarchy itself. They are demanding democracy. So there was a movement going on within Jammu and Kashmir itself. So Maharaja was in a very tough situation where he is trying to suppress the movement that was going on in the internal matters. In the external, he signed the standstill agreement and with India and the Pakistan, and there was also some pressure from the outside. So he want to also control from the outside. So there was a problem inside as well as outside. Now it was October 1947 the trigger point where there were Pashtun tribes, the tribes from the neighboring country Pakistan, who were coming inside the Jammu and Kashmir, and they were fighting against the Maharaja troop, and they are trying to occupy illegally the places over there, and they were also using some arms. That is the problem. See Maharaja, since it is a newly born state, they were very less tax collected. Yes, there are a way more way to go on, but yet Maharaja tried to control it with his strong hands. But the issue is these tribes were using the arms. They were much intelligent. They were also getting some backup. When the Maharaja examined the background, you could understand that the tribes, the Pashtun tribes, were supported by Pakistani army and also by ISI, that is Inter-Services Intelligence of Pakistan. So all these things were going on. It triggers some more issues. So it was an armed rebellion who is fighting against Jammu and Kashmir ruler Maharaja Hari Singh. So he had no other go. In a sense of urgency, he reached India and he asked about the help. And it was again Lord Mountbatten, who was the Governor General of India at that point in time. And he replied, see, if you are a part of our country, we can help, or else it is not possible for us, because we are also a newly born country with limited resources. So it's a wise decision to be a part of us. So he didn't have any other go, right? Because they were Pashtun tribes who were attacking with arms. Maharaja lacks the new arms to fight against, and moreover he also thinks and believes that the Pashtun tribes were backed by the Pakistani army. So he signed an agreement. What is the agreement? The agreement is nothing but the instrument of accession, thereby giving communication, defense and external affairs to India. Now you can have a doubt whether Jammu and Kashmir is the only state which signed instrument of accession. No, not necessarily. Every princely state which joined India signed the instrument of accession. Yes, that's true. But in addition to that, other princely states also signed something called as, just a minute, something called as merger agreement and become an integral part of India. But that was not the case with Jammu and Kashmir, where Jammu and Kashmir, the Maharaja just signed the instrument of accession in an urgency and just to devolve these 3 subjects, and he called for the help from India. Then it was okay, all these things happened on 26th October 1947, where he signed the instrument of accession, thereby devolving the power to India and become the integral part of India. Done. All this story is done. Now, it was 1947 to 1948, there was a full-fledged war between India and the Pakistan on a matter of Kashmir. Yes, you are right. And it was in 1949, okay, in the towards the end of 1948, it was the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru, reached UN and seek their help to stop this war and to give the help to India, because as per legality and as per everything, India stands on a right path, because Pakistan is fighting for no reason, because it was the Maharaja, the ruler, who gave as per the legal action that the Jammu and Kashmir will be an integral part of India. We are devolving the 3 subjects. This was the situation going on at that point in time, and towards the end, Jawaharlal Nehru reached the UN for help, and it was UN on 1st January 1949 gave up a ceasefire line. What is this ceasefire line? In a ceasefire line, the portions which was annexed or which was acquired by Pakistan via force, via Pashtun tribes, armed rebellion, were to be kept with Pakistan, and the remaining place to be India, and they will draw the line of control, right? That line of control as a ceasefire line. So this was the thing. Then UNSC also said that both these troops should vacate the place, leaving India with only the minimal troop to maintain the law and order, and then there will be a plebiscite, and based on the will of the people, let's take up the future. This was the decision given by the UNSC at that point in time. And at that point in time, okay, so India said, okay, fine, that's right, okay, let's both vacate the place and then let the people of Jammu and Kashmir decide on a matter. Again, Pakistan asked, if we withdraw from this area, what is the guarantee that the India will also return or will withdraw its force? What is the guarantee? Again, Pakistan didn't believe India. So there was no other go, there was a deadlock. Both were citing each other and saying that we are not ready to vacate the place, and UN had no other option. UN said that please vacate the place. UN also set up UNCIP, that is United Nations Commission for India and Pakistan, to look upon the matter. They draw the ceasefire line, everything is well, but nobody is ready to withdraw. Even India agreed, yes, we can vacate. Pakistan is not believing India. That is the problem at that point in time. So finally, this is the issue, and Pakistan is not ready to do anything. And as per legality, Jammu and Kashmir belongs to India. So nothing, everything become a deadlock and no other conclusion could be drawn. Then it was the situation in 1949, but something else is happening in India. What is that? Yes, it was the constitution drafting. So it's going to be the end phase. When did we adopt our constitution? Don't say me 26th January 1950. No, it was on that day India become a republic. That is, the head of the state is no more hereditary. It is going to be elected. But it was on November 1949 we adopted our constitution. Constitution came effect on January. Okay, so but adoption took place on November. So it's going to be the end on 1st January 1949. UNSC is saying to do the what is that, plebiscite, but that's not happening. It was going to be the end. So constitution needs to be completed. What's the only option left? Yeah, it was Gopalaswamy Iyengar who is a pointsman. He said that. Okay, see, considering the entanglement situation of Jammu and Kashmir, what is the entanglement situation? Pakistan is claiming, India is claiming, UN, it reached the UN forum, everybody is looking on the Jammu and Kashmir. It has attracted the international attention. So it is not the right situation to come up with the full-fledged, merging of Jammu and Kashmir, and that's not the right scenario, because the entire international forum is looking on Jammu and Kashmir. What is the move of India? So after a much detailed discussion, they came up with something called as Article 370. This is the history. You should understand this one. Why Article 370 came? It's because of the sense of urgency. Because we want to complete the constitution. It was the UN which gave the decision. It was Pakistan and it was India who are not ready. That's the situation. But India belongs to, Jammu and Kashmir belongs to India as per the legality, as per the agreement signed by Maharaja Hari Singh. So that's the situation where we came up with Article 370. What does Article 370 says? The same thing, the instrument of accession which was signed by Maharaja Hari Singh. What does it say? It says that communication, defense and external affairs shall be with India. And as per the instrument of accession, and it's going to be the Constituent Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir who are going to come up with the constitution for Jammu and Kashmir, and then they will decide upon the future of Jammu and Kashmir. So let me clear this. So I could clearly articulate two things very clear. Now coming to the situation in 1949 as per Gopalaswamy Iyengar, where he says that Jammu and Kashmir became the attention of the international forum. So everybody is looking on the Jammu and Kashmir. So it become an entanglement situation where we don't have any other go but to come up with Article 370. What does Article 370 say? It says two things. One is what Article 370 says, that communication, defense and external affairs shall be henceforth with India, and only and other matters president, and other matters president can come up with the order. So to devolve much more provisions of Indian constitution with respect to Jammu and Kashmir, and it's going to be the Constituent Assembly which is going to decide about the constitution of Jammu and Kashmir. Why Jammu and Kashmir alone got its own constitution? It's because of the attention it got from the international forum, where Pakistan is claiming Jammu and Kashmir, where India is also claiming Jammu and Kashmir. Done. What is the second point? The second point you should understand is the link. See, this is very potential for your exam. What is the link of Jammu and Kashmir at 1949? Only two things, Article 1 and Article 370. So Article 1, what does Article 1 says? India, that is Bharat, shall be the union of all states, and this all states also include Jammu and Kashmir. And what does Article 370 says? As I discussed previously, the same provisions the Article 370 says. This is the link between India and Jammu and Kashmir. Done. Everything is over. So it's October 1949. The explanation was given, and it was November 1949. The matter took up its own shape, and everything is done. Now coming on with 1951. Or let me tell, see, this is done. Okay, Jammu and Kashmir was become the thing, and still there was a issue going on where Pakistan is not vacating the place, and because of that India could not reach out on any particular conclusion, and there is no what can I say, agreement or plebiscite being held at that place. This is the entire issue surrounding the Jammu and Kashmir. Now let's move on with the next one. So 1949, this is done. Next, coming to 1951. What 1951? Okay, 1951 is famous for Constituent Assembly. Constituent Assembly was formed. Why Constituent Assembly? As I said, Jawaharlal Nehru is saying that it should not be the history in the future which says that Jammu and Kashmir become part of India just because of Maharaja Hari Singh signed the agreement. No, it's not the will of a single person. It should be the will of the people. Since the plebiscite could not be held because Pakistan is not vacating the place, Pakistan is not believing in India, so we could not reach on a bilateral move. So let's take up the will of the people via the Constituent Assembly. That's why the Constituent Assembly was promised, and it was to be held in Jammu and Kashmir. That's it. Okay, so it was the thing happening in 1951. Now in 1952 there was a Delhi Agreement. Delhi Agreement between, yes, you are right, between Jawaharlal Nehru and the Sheikh Abdullah. Where come the Sheikh Abdullah has come? Man, you are talking about Maharaja Hari Singh. Where did this Sheikh Abdullah come? Yeah, in the beginning itself I said Jammu and Kashmir was suffering from two things. One is external, another is internal. About external we were dealing a great depth. So I think you would have cleared with the external, what's happening, everything. Now coming to the internal, it was the movement. I said there was a movement against the ruler, and the movement got suppressed by the ruler. Yes, but the movement was getting much more prominence, or what can I say, it's getting much more importance, and it was Sheikh Abdullah who what can I say, who lead the movement. Mr. Sheikh Abdullah was leading the movement, right? And he was made to be a prime minister of Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, by after discussing with Jawaharlal Nehru and everything, and even Maharaja Hari Singh accepted, and okay, that's fine, everything is going on good. Then he was made as a prime minister. Now it was the he is not CM, he is a prime minister at that point in time. He was a prime minister of Jammu and Kashmir, who is Sheikh Abdullah, and it was the prime minister of India, Jawaharlal Nehru. Both are discussing on a matter about the Delhi Agreement. So where they are saying that the Constituent Assembly is formed, and we will come up with our own constitution, we will come up with our own flag, and we will also give the other provisions of Indian constitution applicable to Jammu and Kashmir. Let's talk about and have a very good shape where the Jammu and Kashmir can get integrated with India with the will of the people. This was the discussion going on, and at that point in time there was something called as state subject law. Yes, it was a state subject law which was there in 1920s itself. That is 1920s, way back 30 years back itself, there was something called a state subject law where they did not allow the outsiders to come and buy the property in Jammu and Kashmir. So it was not the new one, it was a very old one. It was used by Maharaja Hari Singh at that point in time, where he kept away the Muslims from getting the government jobs. He just gave prominence only to the Pandits over there. So then it was the same thing which we need to get. It was the mindset of the Sheikh Abdullah as well, because Sheikh Abdullah thinks Jammu and Kashmir people should deserve the resources of the Jammu and Kashmir at that point in time, as the Maharaja thought only the Pandit should share the thing. The same things happens here. Again the history goes on circling, right, like that. Okay, so then Jawaharlal Nehru said, okay, fine, if that's your will, and if with that will we will move on. And then he said, okay, we will integrate with India. And that point in time everybody questioned, because there were several constitutional provisions which prohibits this. Yeah, right, it was article 19, article 14, everything, article 21, everything will get violated. What we can do? And then they came up with the idea that we will come up with something called as 35A, and we will solve the problem. That's not an issue, let's take care of it. So this was the discussion going on, and after this discussion, Delhi Agreement, there was an article, okay, there was an idea of an article called 35A born. And then something else is happening. It was 1952, and within this period there is some other issue going on. There was an intelligence report which states to India that Sheikh Abdullah may backtrack. He is not willing to give a full integration with India. So some other things may happen. So then he was taken under the house arrest, and it was Bakshi Ghulam Muhammad, right, who was made the prime minister in 1954. And then there was a renegotiation going on between the Bakshi and the Nehru. Then they came up with the agreement, and finally it gave birth to the article 35A, where they says that the only the Jammu and Kashmir people should be able to buy land in Jammu and Kashmir, and no other Indians should be able to do that. So this was this was like that. Okay, then as usual, so it was proclaimed by a president order, not by a amendment under article 368. Remember this. Okay, so it was a presidential order under article 370 itself, because under article 370 clause 1 there is a provision where the president can come up with the order. Let's talk about article 370 in polity sphere. Again, it will be much clear when you read the particular thing in that particular section. That's why I'm just postponing it. Okay, fine, let's come back. So it was the mother of all presidential order, 1954, the presidential order under article 370. was put forth, where they came up with something of their own kind, where they said they introduced article 35A, and they were also included that we will have our own constitution, we will have our own flag, and they can also, and we will also respect the Constitution of India and the constitutional Indian flag, and many other things. Certain provisions, UPSC, Supreme Court, everything was made applicable under 1954, because before that only communication, defense and external affairs was applicable. Now they are including UPSC, Supreme Court, Election Commission and many other things are there. Everything they are including here now in 1954. In 1954, it is a mother of all presidential order. Why? Because it gave a much more integration with India. And then it was 1956 where the Constituent Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir gave up the constitution to Constitution of Jammu and Kashmir, and it got dissolved by itself. So 1956 everything is fine. So this was the entire history of Jammu and Kashmir. Now let's discuss about the issues plaguing Jammu and Kashmir, starting from the year 1971. So it was in the year 1971, it was Bangladesh liberation period, like Bangladesh liberation war was going on for almost 9 months. So there was an Operation Searchlight. Yes, there was Operation Searchlight. First of all, what's the background? Let me long story short. Let me tell it very short. Okay, like there was a Bengali nationalist, and they were leading a movement for a self-determination. Like it was in the prior 1971, the Pakistan was split into two. Like Pakistan was two parts. Here is West Pakistan and here it is East Pakistan. The East Pakistan is now called as Bangladesh after the Bangladesh Liberation War of 1971. Now coming to the year 1971, there was a Bengali nationalist who were leading a movement for self-determination, and for that 9 months, the Liberation War took almost 9 months. With that 9 months, there was an Operation Searchlight where the Pakistani militaries were accused of killing 3 lakh to 30 lakh people. It was the sources from Bangladesh and the India. Now, why am I saying all these things is, after the end of this 9 months, they came to an agreement where the new country called Bangladesh was born. In addition to that, something else happened. What is that? That is with respect to Jammu and Kashmir, and it was, yes, you are right, it is Shimla Agreement. Shimla Agreement was signed between the then Indian Prime Minister Mrs. Indira Gandhi and Pakistani President Mr. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. So these two leaders, just a minute, these two leaders, one is Mrs. Indira Gandhi, another is Mr. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. Both came to an agreement. What is the agreement is all about is, if at all there is any issue, no, obviously there will be issues. Okay, fine. If there are any issues with respect to Jammu and Kashmir, that issue will be dealt with the two powers involvement. That is, every issue of Jammu and Kashmir will be solved between the two parties on a bilateral form, not on the trilateral or the international forums. We will not involve any other third party into this conflict, and we will take care of all the bilateral issues within us. So this was the agreement mentioned in the Shimla. Okay, so this is a thing going on in the Shimla Agreement. Now let's move on with the okay, from this you are very clear that from Shimla Agreement no third party can enter between the India and Pakistan with respect to Jammu and Kashmir, and this is the same agreement which United Nations cited when Pakistan approached United Nations regarding the recent Article 370 scrapping. So when Pakistan approached United Nations, they cited the Shimla Agreement, stating that you two countries have declared among yourselves that every issue of Jammu and Kashmir will be dealt with dealt in a bilateral manner. So this was the same thing that's happened. So it is very, very important. So when it comes to 1971-72, you should definitely know about the Shimla Agreement, who signed the Shimla Agreement, and what does the Shimla Agreement says with respect to Jammu and Kashmir, that it is a bilateral issue and there is no space for the third party. This is the crux over it. Now coming on to the next year, 1989 to 1990, that is, this is a second issue. What is this all about? Let me tell you in short about 1987 election which held in Jammu and Kashmir. It was the secular party of Jammu and Kashmir at that point in time, national conference along with Congress won the majority and they formed the government. But what is the thing is, this election, 1987 election, was accused to be the most rigged election of India. So everybody was claiming that this election was rigged and there was the problem with this election. So let me just brief you about something happening before that also. Let's take an example, like there was something called as Jammu and Kashmir Liberation Front. That is, it is one group which is operating from Azad Kashmir, that is Pakistan occupied Kashmir. They are helping the, what can I say, young people to get agitated, and they are involving in a separatist movement against the government. So all these elements are helping the separatists within the Jammu and Kashmir to make Jammu and Kashmir a liberated nation or to attach it with the pro-Pakistan, just like that, okay. So all these issues are going on. The Jamadi Islamic group were also operating over there, and everybody formed something called as Muslim Front. All Muslims joined together and they formed a religious based political party, which was contesting the election in 1987, and it was against the National Conference and Congress. So in this case, as I said, National Conference and the Congress won the election, and since it was accused to be the rigged election, all the Muslims got tensed and all the separatist elements utilized this opportunity to spread more hatred in Jammu and Kashmir. And this is the same scenario made the entire Jammu and Kashmir to be in alert, that too in high alert. And what happened is, if there were separatist elements who were trying to attack the government authority, they found Kashmir Pandits to be the symbol of government authority in Jammu and Kashmir. So this movement, or this what can I say, tense, become a religious movement. So they started to attack the Kashmir Pandit, and it was considered, like in 1990 alone, there were 3 lakh Kashmir Pandits evicted from the Kashmir Valley, and this is very, very bad scenario happening at that point in time, and the law and order situation is out of control. So everybody started to accuse the government, because the elections was not that true as per the opposition parties. So this was the entire thing happened, and it was in 1990 around 300 were killed also. So almost 3 lakh within a year got evicted. So the entire situation was out of control, and there, because of this. So this is all about the eviction, or what can I say, deportation of all the Kashmir Pandits, or not all, almost 3 lakh Kashmir Pandits, and after that also there were many Kashmir Pandits were leaving the Kashmir Valley. So this was the thing happening. So in order to bring the Kashmir Valley under control, government came up with something called as APSPA. I guess you would have heard this name several times in newspaper also. It is Armed Forces Special Powers Act. So what it does is, it's giving the special power to the armed forces so that they do not come, or they cannot be prosecuted. So these are the special powers given for the army people, so that they don't feel or they don't fear regarding the more prosecutions of such matters. Okay, so it was a special powers. Okay, it was the special powers given to the armed forces so that they can effectively control Jammu and Kashmir's law and order without fearing of prosecution, because there can be several cases levied against them, right, with respect to human rights violation, because law and order also involves the a method of suppressing the separatist elements also. So this is the issue, and because of that the government also came up with something called as AFSPA. So but even when you say AFSPA today to Jammu and Kashmir people, they will really become much angry. So this was the extent the AFSPA was there, and every human rights activist accused AFSPA for human rights violation. So there were several bone of contention between the Jammu and Kashmir people and the government with respect to AFSPA. So this was a scenario happening from 1990 to 2015, and it was the human rights activists still today saying that the revoking of AFSPA should be done, because it is creating more problem and it is creating more harm than good. That is the thing they are trying to do. But when you just give some conclusion with respect to AFSPA, you should read several more things, because I could not able to cover everything under this lecture. So you can read about the AFSPA in Jammu and Kashmir, AFSPA in Northeast states, what they are actually doing and is it good or not, but your conclusion should be in much more positive manner. Like, see, AFSPA is something called as necessary evil, because we want to bring back the situation normal, or else we cannot do anything, right? Just a minute. We have to bring back the situation normal. Law and order is much more important. So this is what you try to conclude in your answers. Now let's continue with our time series or timeline series. And it was in Jan 2016 something happened. What it is? It is Pathankot Attack. Army personnel were attacked, and again it was in September. Something else happened, that's called as Uri attack. And before that we also what can I say, killed the leader Burhan Wani, who was portrayed as a freedom fighter in Jammu and Kashmir by some separatist elements also. All these things you should remember. You should understand who this guy is, what's happening, how the scenario is moving on from Pathankot to Uri attack, who got killed by the army, and how he was treated by the separatist element in Jammu and Kashmir, how the separatist element is breeding more and more hatred among the Kashmiris, and how they are utilizing the opportunities, all these things. And it was again in 2018, even Pakistan tried to come up with some order 2018, that is Gilgit-Baltistan order, where they tried to incorporate Gilgit-Baltistan, and all those things are happening. Why am I just skimming through, I'm just having a cursory glance, that's it. I'm not going in deep because it's not possible to cover each and everything, but I'm just giving you the content so that you can list the content and you can get the points relevant to it. You can just explain the point, and that's enough, more than enough if it is asked in the mains. Now coming on to the 2019, everybody would know about the Pulwama attack. The most deadliest attack took place on Feb 14, 2019, where there was the convoy of vehicles moving from Jammu to Srinagar on a Jammu-Srinagar national highway, and there was a suicide bomber who was in a truck or a car, came and dashed against one of the particular vehicle, and almost 40 CRPF personnel were killed by the attack. So it was the deadliest attack which plagued the entire nation. Then we in retaliation to that, we also had some air strikes in Balkot, and where we could target and eliminate the what can I say, Jaish-e-Mohammed terror camps also. So all these things are important. What was happening with respect to Jammu and Kashmir, how the events are moving from 1971 till 2019, and finally in 2019 in a parliament attack, sorry, not in a parliament attack, in a parliament, what can I say, Mr. Home Minister Mr. Amit Shah came up with something called as Article 370 scrapping. So all these things are very important. That's it. So I made justice to the timeline. I just explained what are the issues in Kashmir. I just explained what is the history of Kashmir and all those stuffs. Now let's move on with the mains question number 1. It's just a practice question where you can also write the answer to this question. I will just explain how the structure of answer should be, and which will fetch you more marks, because what is my aim is to get more marks and give a edge to your competitors. See, if you think that you want to get the full marks, it's not possible in UPSC. You want to write a very good answer with a very good structure, and if possible it should have an edge over others. That's it. That should be your concentration. Now coming back to this question, discuss the historical underpinnings which led to Article 370 and Article 35A. See, I clearly mentioned about the history of Jammu and Kashmir, where I told why Article 370 has come, why Article 35A has come. So in this question, I just gave you the enough content. Now you want to structure it. How to structure it? First of all, the question didn't ask about Article 370, but you should not miss it. Like again, see, the question does not ask about 370, but you should explain in a 1 to 2 lines regarding Article 370 and again Article 35A, and then you should relate it how the historical underpinnings has led to the evolution or origination of the Article 370 and 35A. Then this was the one part. Then elucidate the different issues which plague Jammu and Kashmir peace over 70 years. So as I said, you should list from 1971 till 2019 what all the things happened. So with that, okay, but coming to the marks, just see, it is just for the 10 marks and just they are requiring the 150 words. So you should separate 75 words for the first part and 75 words for the second part. So just 10 marks, okay. So you should be able to list what are the highlight points. That's it. You should not go in deep because it is not recommended. So you should when you ask about the structure, once again I will just explain you. If you take this page, first of all you should talk about Article 370, then you should talk about Article 35A, then you should talk about the history which led to these two things in a very precise manner. Coming to the next page, you should tell what are the issues plaguing the Jammu and Kashmir. You should start from 1971. You should say what is the issue. Issue is not the issue here. Here there is a Shimla Agreement, and the Pakistan is violating this Shimla Agreement by going to the UN, and you should tell all these things. And if it is regarding AFSPA, you should give your own opinion. You should give conclusion regarding AFSPA, and then you should talk about several attacks like Pathankot Attack, Uri Attack and Pulwama Attack. You should talk about everything, and then on a conclusion you should give some very you should be giving a very optimistic conclusion where it should be a positive ending. Everything will be good. Like, see, Jammu and Kashmir peace and the integration of Jammu and Kashmir is our ultimate aim. The Kashmiris should understand the problem, and if at all they are given the good education and employment, they will understand the core value of India, and they could differentiate the India and Pakistan, and they also understand how good their life will be. Everything, like, your conclusion should match the lines which I said, okay, then you should conclude it. So the entire question is just for 10 marks. So your words should be minimal. You should be able to express all your opinion within that word limit. That is very important for UPSC. Now that's it. So let's conclude the history and the issues of Jammu and Kashmir here with one mains question. Let's continue with our polity sphere of Jammu and Kashmir in our later videos. Thank you.